I think in the current landscape of film and television, it'd be very easy to look upon a new prequel or sequel to such a beloved franchise with a very critical and cynical eye. Because so many projects these days are just cheap cash grabs on pre-existing IP just to make a quick buck and get out as quickly as they can with as little effort as they can. But also, I think it's fair to look at who's making this movie, and it's written by David Chase, the creator of The Sopranos. He wrote 30 episodes for the show and loved it in and out. It was his baby for those 9 years it was on television, and he cared for it immensely. He's also co-writing it with another writer on the show, and it's been directed by Alan Taylor, who directed 9 episodes of The Sopranos. So it's fair to say that the creative team here are the best he could possibly pick for this project, and I don't think it's a cynical cash grab. I don't think that the studio finally pressured Chase into doing this and he finally caved and said, fuck it, that check's big enough, let's do it. I think it's a passion project. I think that he wanted to go back and tell this story. So for me, the creative team behind the project, that says the most about whether it's going to be good or bad.
When I was a kid, guys like me were brought up to follow codes.
Hey, jerk off. What'd you say? What?
I think Michael Gandolfini looks amazing as a young Tony. He's obviously put the time and effort into going back and watching all the Sopranos and learning Tony's mannerisms and his body language and just that essence. And being that he is the son of the late great James Gandolfini, that just brings so much more reverence and meaning and weight to this role. He's not just a young actor taking on this iconic role and learning the mannerisms of some other actor. His father died suddenly and very young, and to go back and try to play the most iconic character that he ever played would have so much emotion behind it. You'd have to think about your father's death. You're just watching hours and hours of him portraying this character. I mean, I have to applaud him, even before I've seen the film and seen his portrayal, just for attempting to go back and do this. And he looks great. He looks just like his father. There were so many moments with his facial expressions where I'm like, oh my god, it's Tony. It's not just some random actor, it's his son. It's his son. It's amazing. And yeah, being that I was such a big James Gandolfini fan, and his passing was so sudden and sad to everyone, yeah, it just brings so much emotion and weight to this role. It doesn't feel like a cheap cash grab to me. It feels like there's more. I might be wrong, but we'll see.
I want to go to college. I can't get caught with shit like this.
Look, you take the speakers, right? At the same time, you say to yourself, this is the last time I'm ever gonna steal something. It's that simple.
Trailers aren't created to accurately capture the narrative and tone of a film. They're created to interest a larger audience in this property. And I don't think this film is centered around Tony. I think the main character is Dickie Moltisanti, Christopher's father, but I can understand why Tony was made the centerpiece of this trailer. I understand what they're trying to do. They're just trying to hope that in this horrible epic pandemic that they're able to make some money off of this film, which they spent a lot of time, effort and love creating, presumably. So yeah, I think that Dickie Moltisanti will be the main character of this film, which is also very interesting. Being the father of Chrissy, I know that he had a drug addiction and that he met an untimely death to a corrupt police officer, I believe. I don't know how much of his life or death we're going to see, but we know little of him from the actual television show. So that'll be interesting to see him doing his thing and seeing the great Christopher's father go through all these trials and tribulations. And with this Newark riots that it's all set around, that creates a very tumultuous and interesting background for this epic family drama to play out during.
Uncle Dick.
Growing up with the family takes a toll.
Just for a bit of background, the first time I ever watched The Sopranos was in 2009, just after it finished. I brought the entire box set from JB Hi-Fi after seeing very little of it. I don't really know why, but it hooked my interest for some reason. And yeah, just upon watching it, I was completely hooked and watched it and rewatched it and rewatched it, and it was amazing. Remember at the time being a teenager still, and all my contemporaries being like, why are you watching this dry, boring drama? But now in our adult life, we've all come to appreciate this fucking masterpiece of a television show. So yeah, it's fair to say that The Sopranos means a lot to me. It's not only one of my favorite television shows of all time, it's one of the best television shows of all time. I remember where I was when I heard James Gandolfini died. I was in a subway in the city eating a footlong, and I heard it over the news. I was like, oh my god. I went home and watched The Sopranos, and I'm not ashamed to say one tear ran down my face. I was sad. I was sad for losing this actor that I never knew. I didn't know him, but it moved me when he died suddenly, because I loved his character so much, and I loved seeing him in interviews, and I loved the show. So yeah, it means a lot to me, The Sopranos. And a lot of nostalgic properties over the last decade have been trudged out of the mud and just destroyed in front of my eyes, which is fine. I'm over it. I don't care anymore. Star Wars has gone to shit. Star Trek, Doctor Who, Game of Thrones, you know, it doesn't really matter. And if this movie was terrible, I mean, you know, I'm over it. I've seen so much horror with Star Wars and Star Trek and everything else at this point. I don't really care if the film's bad. That's fine. The Sopranos still exists. The Sopranos is still amazing. I remember a quote by George R.R. Martin when someone asked him, what do you think about the changes people have made to your books through creating Game of Thrones? And he said, my books are up on the shelf. They haven't made any changes to them. They still exist. If you want to read my books, you can read my books. That's fine. They're here. They haven't made any changes to the books. So yeah, The Sopranos is still there. It still exists, and that's fine. And if this movie sucks, what are you gonna do? That shit happens. But in saying that, I mean, it would actually be really nice if this was a good, competent, exciting, exhilarating, immersive film. I would really thoroughly enjoy if they were able to make a film which was good for once. So we'll see.
As far as your nephew goes,
I'm listening.
stay out of his life.
I mean, in conclusion, it was a 2-minute trailer. It was very well executed. The music, the fast pace, the energy of it had a lot of energy. Michael Gandolfini looks amazing. Ray Liotta is such an iconic actor. Those shots of the pork store and Junior and Johnny Boy and Dickie Moltisanti, I mean, it all got me. It all grabbed me. I'm in, but it's a fucking 2-minute trailer. It's not reflective of a 2-hour film. So we'll see. But at this point in time, I'm in. Thank you for watching.